Guy, Mr. Keith Sykes, songwriter legendary, as far as I know. That's what everybody says about you.
They're entitled to their opinion.
You know, the reason I'm putting this Songwriters Cafe on here is so that people have an understanding of who the person is behind the song. And I'm starting to get a few emails of what people really wanting to hear. And I talked to some people today, and one of them wanted to know, as far as your career goes, when was that aha or ta-da moment that you knew that this is what you were going to be doing?
Well, I used to write lyrics in study hall from about the 10th grade on until I finished high school. And I didn't know how to play anything, so I would just write, the lyrics out, and I'd have to be singing the songs in my mind, And I started playing guitar in my senior year, right about Christmas time. And so I was all the way out of high school before I ever really put a song with music together. And once I had a few, I took them over to a friend of mine, Larry Raspberry, and played him a song, and he said he'd like to record that, So that was my first time, I think one of my first times ever even to be in the recording studio, when I went over there. And Dale Hawkins, the guy that did Susie Q, was the producer. I didn't even know what a producer was. But during that time, I was hanging out with them, and I saw the process going down a little bit, and they played it for me. I thought, man, I wrote that. That's pretty cool, That could have been it. A little bit later on, I used to go around Channel 5, the TV studio, because there was in the Saturday afternoons, they had all these half-hour country shows on television in Memphis. And the first one was a Dusty Rhodes show, the Rhodes Show. Okay. And he was very prominent in Memphis, and everybody looked up to him. And I started hanging out over there, and he, one thing led to another. I played him some songs, and he took me to Nashville, and I got my first publishing deal up there with Surefire Music. And I guess that was 67 or maybe early 68. I don't remember the dates. I used to know all this stuff.
It's hard to when they all run together.
But around in that time, the late 60s, is where I thought, well, maybe this would work out, or at least, I never thought about doing anything else, truthfully. After I started doing it, even I had, if I had another job, it still didn't matter. I wasn't really doing that job as far as I was concerned. I was just songwriting.
Yeah, that's where your heart is, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that you said when some of the stuff I was reading about you, that you went to New York and decided to really do the folk music up there because it wasn't really happening here in the South. So, I would kind of know, what kind of experience did you have? Was it real tough at first, starting up with that in New York, or was it just...
Well, at that time I was playing on the Holiday Inn Lounge circuit. Holiday Inns was based in Memphis. And I got on that circuit, and I went and played the whole summer of '68 up in Buffalo, New York. And I met a few local people, and one of those guys was a bass player named Mark Goldfarb, and he told me about the college coffee house circuit. And I thought, well, that would be a great place for me, because I could play the songs I've written rather than play the hits of the day. And so I auditioned for that. We went over there after that summer into New York City, and I auditioned for that and got on the thing. And that's where I said, well, I'll just move up to New York City. So that's what I did. I moved up to New York, just lived there for about 5 years, and met so many great songwriters and performers and people of all kinds of people. That's how I kind of got myself started in the professional part of it, I guess,
So when did you find out that you really wanted to do more than, you wanted to make a different path from New York City, and you wanted to, and you went, where was it? You went to, was it Austin you went to from there?
Yeah, I went down to Austin. I've been playing Austin on the coffee house circuit for ever since '68. That's one of the first places they sent me. And it was a really cool little town. I think about 75,000, 80,000 people. And the college, the University of Texas was there. And that's where I played at UT. And the people were always really, really nice to me. So about 73, I just felt like I was kind of spinning my wheels in New York City. The folk music, the whole folk music scene had really gone away. And there were a few people that, Loudon Wainwright comes to mind, who had managed to knock it out of the park up in New York City, but I just felt like I was never going to do that. I was maybe a little too country, or just wasn't folk enough, you know. So I just thought, well, I should, you know, Jerry Jeff Walker had moved down to Austin. I said I should go down there and see what I could do down there. And I didn't stay but 7 months, but I sure, you know, I learned how to put a band together down there.
Did you work with Jerry Jeff?
Well, Jerry Jeff I met the day after I went to New York in '68. They asked me who I liked, and that summer I'd been listening to the jukebox in the Holiday Inn, you know, when I wasn't working. And one of the records was Mr. Bojangles. It had been out about a month, I guess. I'd been listening to it, and I told them, I said, I like this guy named Jerry Jeff Walker, not even thinking they'd know who I was talking about. They made a phone call, and Jerry Jeff popped in the office. Turns out the people who had the coffee house circuit was also the same people that managed Jerry Jeff. So we hit it off right off the bat. And you know, we were just friends. You know, some people you just are instant friends with, like you've just always known them your whole life. And he moved down to Austin and was telling me about it. You know, come down to Austin and see what it's like, and not just to come through and play, but you know, just see the lay of the land and everything. And I really enjoyed it. You know, I stayed down there like for a little while. Then.
Yeah. Did you do any writing with him?
No, we've written one song together.
Oh,
And I never thought about writing with people up until, you know, way after I'd lived in New York City. You know. And co-writing to me was a new deal. I just never thought about it.
Was it comfortable to do co-writing when you first started? Or
Well, yeah.
was it kind of like speed dating, like some people say?
The first song, I've written a few things with other people all along the way, even from the very first. Well, I didn't know what I was doing. I don't think they did either. We was all pretty young. But the first time I wrote with somebody that was a serious time to write, Rodney Crowell was up in New York City working on a record on Roseanne Cash, and he called and said, I'm going to have some time off. Do you want to come up and try to write some stuff? And I thought, well, sure, that'd be a good thing. And when we started writing, I understood really what writing with somebody was all about, you know, because if I didn't get a line with them just a minute or two, I'd just go on to the next thing, you know. But Rodney he'd just stop, and we'd concentrate on that one line until we had something really over the top good, I thought at least. And I learned at that point, if you're going to co-write with somebody, you need to try to really give it everything you got, and don't compromise, and really try to outbid the other guy. You know, you think that line's good. Well, what about this one? That
Kind of the
thing.
one-up type of thing, huh?
A little bit, you know, not really. But
In a nice way, of course.
yeah, just try to find the best one that you can possibly get in, and have that line mean something. Every line means something.
How do you know when a song is done, or at least close to be, you know, stick a fork in it?
I'm not a real good guy to ask about that, because I've written songs. I've spent 20 years on songs. I know when they're not done.
Because you keep working, keep revising them and stuff.
With me, if I write a song, and I usually think when I'm finished writing the song on the day I've got it all done, or at least complete, mapped out, I'll know if there's a little phrase or two or something in there I could tidy up, or anything that might be musical to happen where it's not. But I give myself a little breathing room after that initial day, and just to see how I can make it be better. And after I get up and play it for people, even if it's just in a living room or if it's on stage, I'll know when something's missing, just intuitively. I don't know how I know that, but I know if it's not right.
Do you change it in that live performance sometimes?
Sometimes I'll do that. A lot of times I'll just know when something should be happening, and I'll go back and get that little part, and then I'll know, now that's really done.
Yeah, there's a to-done moment.
I can't put any more into that than get anything else out of it, you know. So that's how it is for me.
Well, you know, writing is quite a personal thing for all of us, you know. I mean, I have all those songs, I have some songs that I write that I'm not really going to be playing out for people because it's just between me and, like, for my grandkids and stuff. Do you have songs that, for your family, that is that personal that you actually haven't played?
I don't think I have anything from a family that I haven't played them, but
I mean, just for your family.
I have songs just for me. they're really just for me. I don't have any, they're not for anybody else particularly. Sometimes I'm not going to give up a day of writing just because it's not going to be, quote, commercial or usable in a live sense or any of that kind of stuff. If it's something I really want to say, something I feel that I care about, and something I just really want to talk about, or at least have in my library of songs, I'll finish that song whether I think it's ever going to go anywhere or not. But if it goes somewhere to me, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Well, one of the whole points. The whole point of writing songs is to try to get other people to listen to them and make them be a part of the fabric of their life. But a lot of times, if it's just a fabric of my life, it's good enough, or at least what I want to do. Some subjects I don't particularly think would relate well to other people sometimes.
Do you find it a hard balance with playing music in your family, or have you kind of got that worked out? Because a lot of people starting out want to be able to play in a club and go and do their thing in their songs and really dive into it, but they also have this problem that I need to balance that out with my family.
They probably didn't move to New York when they were 19.
Was that the one that really kind of just set things in pace for you?
Well, I moved to New York in my mind when I was old enough to think. I don't know if you know what I'm saying. It didn't cross my mind about any of that stuff. They either had to accept me or not.
It was just who you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's good because
Not being hard about it.
No.
I mean, it's, if you're talking about my wife, she knew me before I was. I mean, she knew me. She knew me.
Yeah.
She didn't really know me until I was already who I was.
And where did you meet her? And it's
Well, we met.
Jareen?
Yeah, Jareen, like tangerine with no
yeah,
tangerine.
that's what she was telling me.
We met in grade school, but it never anything more than I knew her name, and I guess she may have known mine. I don't even know. I don't even think she did, but well, she might have known my name because of my sister. Her brother used to date my sister, but they were older than us. But anyway, we really got together in '74. I was gone pretty much for the 8 years after high school up until I moved back, and that's when we met and got together.
What do you think Memphis is doing for you as a songwriter, performer? I mean, what can we do to really bring the level of songwriting up into Memphis?
I don't have the slightest answer to that.
I know that's a tough one, but
Well, I mean, I don't think you can teach somebody how to write songs. I think you can teach them techniques that you have, that you use that work for, or at least speaking of me, that I use that work for me, that I can tell somebody else how I've been doing it. And I've had these workshops for songwriting,
right,
and told people how to do. But I never thought, okay, if you add 2 and then you add 2, you're going to get 4. You know, it's just songwriting really isn't like that.
it's from the heart, yeah?
Well, I don't know where it's from. It's just, but I know it's not like math, and it's not like carpentry. It's just whatever it is. You know, you can't touch it, and you can't put it in your pocket. It's just you hear it.
But it's something you can hold on to
it's
forever.
It's an emotion. Yeah, it's an emotion.
Yeah, we've all had those songs. What would you say was your most favorite song that you've written? Do you have a favorite?
In the last 24 months. I don't know. There's been a lot of them. I'm really glad I wrote. I'm glad I wrote a very short time in 1968 before I moved to New York City. One of the new ones I've written is "The Pleasure Is All Mine." I'm glad I wrote that. You know, it's just a little tune.
Is that one possibly one you're gonna play a little bit later on?
I'll be glad to.
Yeah, we'd love to hear that. I know that you worked with Jimmy Buffett for a little while.
Yeah.
And you guys wrote that Volcano
Yeah.
together, and how did that come about? I mean, because a little bit of it said that you guys went out and you came back and you sit down and you wrote it. And
Well, we were down in Montserrat. It's about 1,250 miles, 12 something another miles south of Miami, down in the Caribbean. It's just was a little island down there, and George Martin, the producer of the Beatles records, had made a studio there, and it was really wonderful, you know. And we had finished the recording just about of everything except that people were coming in and doing overdubs. So some people would have a day off, and the other guys would be in the studio, and vice versa, you know. So on one of my days off, when people were still in the studio, I went up to this volcano And it completely blew my mind. You hear about a real volcano and you imagine what it might be like, but volcanoes are like people, they're different. All of them's a little bit different. So this one was the way it was, and I went back that afternoon, I told Jimmy about it, and he said, well, we're going to go up together, and we went up to the volcano the next day. It was a mind-boggling experience. We went back to the studio and sat down and wrote the song in probably 20 minutes. I'm not kidding, 20, 30 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't know how long it was. I just know that I just looked up and we were done.
Yeah, it don't usually happen that way with a lot of songwriters.
It certainly doesn't happen that way with me. And
you really couldn't tell it with listening to your tunes and how you write.
well, anyway, that's how that one happened, and it turned out that after we recorded it, that worked out to be a good title for the album, so I got the title cut of the Volcano album.
Was that another one of those ta-da, I know I'm here moments kind of thing?
It was ta-da, I knew I got the title cut. I didn't know it till we got the galleys, I used to call them. The printer would send out proofs of, what to be approved, and there it was, just like a volcano. I thought, this is good. Yeah.
It just jumped right out at you. So anyway, I think we really enjoyed a lot of conversation with you, and the Songwriters Cafe that we're trying to develop here is going to give a chance to see who the person is behind the song, and I think we've had a chance to meet you and know who you are just a little bit, I mean, there's a great deal to know about you if anybody read your bio, and you got a new album coming out. It's what is it? Bucksnort Blues.
Bucksnort Blues is the newest studio album I have, and I wrote all the songs on there except the title cut, which was written by Jed Zimmerman. Bucksnort Blues. I love that tune. And
that's not got nothing to do with the town just down the road.
It has everything to do with the town down the road. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much it had to. I mean, as far as the naming of the song and the position of the place, it's not exactly halfway. It's more than like 2/3 here and 1/3 to Nashville, but it's close to being halfway in between Memphis and Nashville. And but I have another new one that we haven't really put up on the digital download places because we're keeping it for just it's special. It'll always be just for sale at my shows and at my website.
And that's the only two places you can get it.
And that one's called 20 Most Requested. It's just songs I've recorded. All but 2 or 3 of them are songs I've written way before and recorded acoustic versions of. And it's a good thing for us. When I do play live, most of my shows now are acoustic shows as opposed to with the band. Mm-hmm. And so rather than have a record that they heard me play a song that I think they probably want to hear it the way they just heard it. And so if they do, then they can buy this record. It's got 20 songs that are the most requested songs.
Is that all acoustic on it?
All acoustic, just like what they just heard. Yeah. I did a version of this before we put it out called Just Like Last Night. And then Todd Snyder wanted to do a record on me, and he wanted to do songs that he liked that I'd written all acoustic, so I did that. And we sold out of those records, and so to replace all that, and I added more songs, probably I think 5 more songs to where it's, or 6 more songs where it's 20 songs. And they're all songs that I get heavily requested from my live show. It's not all the ones. I'll put the list up on my Facebook page after I did it. And then everyone who wrote back said, I put the title up, and I got so many people saying, well, I sure hope this song's on there, and it wasn't. So there's been about 6 or 7.
Yeah, but you've written so many, you can't just cram them all into one.
So I may do a volume 2 next year or something like that.
We hope you do a lot of volumes of those great songs.
Okay.
And we thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you, BJ.
And we hope to see you again here on our show. And if you can help us make the awareness of the songwriters here in Memphis and all over the United States, I think that's going to be a great thing for everybody.
Well, appreciate you having me. Yes, I hope the writers in Memphis would come in and spend a little time with you and let them tell you what they think.
That's what everybody wants to hear. They want to know the person behind the song. Okay. And again, thank you everybody for joining us here at Songwriters Cafe. We will see you next time, and we are not leaving yet, though. We're going to have a performance here by Mr. Keith Sykes, and that's going to be which one now?
I'll do The Pleasure Is All Mine.
Well, the pleasure is all ours.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Some days the hawks and eagles fly, other days it's jays and crows. Sometimes it's like I can't get high, but other days I can't get low. Each time it's windy and warm, without a cloud up in the sky. There's one so weathered and worn, the sun refuses to come by. Each day that I get out of bed, no matter how I plan my time, I know some pain will come and go, but the pleasure is all mine. I still remember how it felt with my fingers in your hair, touching the hand that I was dealt to the answer of my prayer. And though it was long ago, I never found a better treasure. And no matter who I know, compared to you is how I measure. Sometimes when my spirit is sinking and I surely need a lift, I try to make me keep on thinking. Every day I live is a gift. It's been forever and a day since we were young and in our prime. And though the time has slipped away, the pleasure is still all mine. Sometimes when my spirit is sinking and I surely need a lift, I try to make me keep on thinking. Every day I live is a gift. It's been forever and a day since we were young and in our prime. And though the time has slipped away, the pleasure is still all mine. And though the time has slipped away, the pleasure is still all mine. I come by to see you guys each year at the end of May. We open up some memories and some beers, just like in the day. You both are forever young and I am covered up with age. I close my eyes and travel back in time and turn another page. On a book as big as boulders, but it don't outweigh the short stories of young soldiers at the end of May. There's no way to ever satisfy why this was to be. Every time I stop and wonder why you instead of me. There's a mountain on my shoulders, but it don't outweigh the The short stories of young soldiers at the end of May. There's a mountain on my shoulders, but it don't outweigh the short stories of young soldiers at the end of May.